Hello guys, today we're going to be doing our first Blender tutorial of the Blender modeling series. And you might be asking, I only have 34 subscribers, why am I doing a full-fledged Blender tutorial when no one's probably going to use it? Well, to that I would say, stop talking to your computer, that's weird. And I would also say, I don't know, I just want to. So let's get into the tutorial. So today we're going to be covering the basics of how to navigate the Blender interface and basics today. So let's get started. So here I have opened the general file with the cube, uh, default cube, it's called. And I'm going to keep it there for now, but let's start with navigating the interface. So as you can see, I have been using this circle wheel to navigate, but if you want to orbit around the scene, if you have a mouse, you can use the middle mouse key and orbit. Okay, so it's that you press down on the scroll wheel and then you can move your mouse to orbit around the scene, and scrolling in and out to zoom in and zoom out. And you can also use this plus if you have a touchpad. Move it back to zoom out and front to zoom in. Hand is to move side to side, and right click is to get up this basic menu, but most of your things you'll be using from up here on this toolbar or short keys, which I will give you some later. So now let's get to moving an object. So if you clicking is with left click like usual. So if you click on this cube, let's start with just moving it around. So if you use G, you can move this cube around wherever you want to, okay? And escape to cancel your actions, okay? And then if you click again, it will save your action, okay? And then, of course, Command Z returns back to what you had just done. So if you do G and then there are axes, the y-axis is in green, red is the x-axis, and Z you can't see it, but it's up and down in blue. I don't think it's showing it to you right now. So if you click any of them, so you click G, and suppose I want to only move on the x-axis, so I click X, and then I can move on the x-axis. If I click Y, I can move on the y-axis, and if I click Z, I can move on the z-axis. So you can see it's blue, okay? And then, yeah. And then if you just want to move without on no axis, you just click Z, and then you don't click anything, okay? So that's moving, and that's G, okay? Now scaling, S. So scaling S, so you can scale, and you can also scale on the axis, is just like moving. So suppose you want to scale on the x-axis, you can scale by clicking X after S, by y-axis and z-axis, basically same like moving, okay? And then we have rotating, which is R. So you can of course just rotate freely by clicking R, and you can rotate on the axes X, rotate on x-axis, y, and z. Okay, so those are pretty much the basic functions you need to move and around the scene and move the objects and change the objects. And one more important thing you'll probably need is delete. So X is delete, the short key for deleting. So you click X and then you confirm delete and it'll delete your object. Okay. So another thing you're going to want to do a lot is add things. So there's two ways to do it. There's object, and add and mesh. And then you can add a cube, a circle, a UV sphere. I'm going to delete this right now, I don't need it. Or you can use Shift A, and then you can add, suppose what we were using, a cube, okay? So that is the basics of adding, deleting, and moving around the interface. So I have a challenge for you just to see if you have learned how to navigate this interface. For the challenge, what I want you to do is I want you to start by deleting the cube in the general in the general file. I want you to add any mesh of your choice, suppose a sphere, and I want you to move it to a specific location only on the x-axis, and then I want you to add another one and move it only on the y-axis, and add the third one and move it only on the z-axis. Okay, and then scale them however you would like, and also just practice rotating things. And yeah, also practice navigating around the scene, so don't just move it like right next to each other. Also try maybe moving one all the way over here or something. Just one thing before you try the challenge. One thing you can do to easily duplicate objects is Shift D, and then it'll duplicate it, and then if you click Escape, it'll move it right back to where it was. Then you can move it using G, or delete that. When you do Shift D, then you can just move it automatically when you do that, and by clicking X or Y or Z. So that'll make it easy for you to make 3 objects instead of adding all of them separately. But you can make 3 different objects, they don't have to be the same object. Okay. So pause the video and go try that out so you can get used to the Blender interface. Okay, so hopefully you have tried that out and came back. So I'll just do a demo here for you of what your challenge should look like. I'm going to do 3 different objects. Let's start with the cylinder. I'll move one on the x-axis over here. I'll move, and then zoom out a bit. And then I'll Shift D and duplicate that and move it on the y-axis. And Shift D and move it on the z-axis. Okay, and then I'll rotate them. One on the x, and on y won't really do anything. I mean, sorry, y will do something, z won't do anything. Now see, if I try rotating by z, it just looks the same because it's rotationally symmetric on the z-axis. So if you click N, it opens this toolbar, so you can, if you have exact dimensions or that you want to move it or scale it by, you can put it here. So suppose I want to rotate it by 90 degrees on the x-axis, then I can do that, and as you can see, it did it right here. And if I want to move it back to 0, 0, 0, so to the origin, it will do that. If I put it here, it moves back to the world center. So yeah, and then the scale and the dimensions are here as well. So I hope you learned how to navigate the interface and mess with the objects. I'll see you in the next Blender tutorial, where we will start our first project in our cafe we're going to try to make. So see you there. Thank you for watching, and bye.